Ed here with the Digital Digest, and today I wanted to share a quick unboxing and first look at the Lenovo ThinkPad P1 Gen 4. The machine that you're about to see, as am I, that was sent over by Lenovo for review purposes, retails for roughly $3,800 US. I'll include a link in the description, and while it's expensive, over time, surely that price will come down. In terms of specifications, this is powered by an Intel 11th Gen Xeon processor, the 11855. It is vPro certified, Windows 10 Pro out of the box, an NVIDIA RTX A2000 under the hood, 64 gigs of RAM, a 2 terabyte Gen 4 PCI Express NVMe SSD. We've got a 16-inch 2560 by 1600 resolution display. That is a 16 by 10 aspect ratio, for those of you that are wondering. So this does promise to be very, very feature rich. And at 3.99 pounds, significantly lighter than the other workstation options that you would traditionally be looking at in this class. So let's go ahead and get this thing out of the box, put it down right there, and I will grab the power brick. So you're going to miss a little bit of that off camera, and that is pretty much everything in the box. So again, this is really squarely aimed at people that are mobile professionals looking for an incredibly portable yet still workstation class experience. Of course, with the understanding that you are not going to get max power out of a machine like this. After all, it is the thin and light version of what you traditionally see in the P series. So first and foremost, as usual, this is a really nice looking machine. I mean, not many manufacturers do it as well as Lenovo when it comes to fit and finish and just keeping things looking professional, and I would say really attractive in the process of delivering some exceptional power. Now the power brick that I'm pulling out here, as well as, I don't know if there's another accessory here, let's see. Yeah, so it looks like they've included a Type-C to Ethernet adapter, because there is no Ethernet port on here, for those of you that are wondering. There we have our power cable that is going to connect to our power brick, which is, let's just see, a 170 watt brick. But let's get to the machine itself. Let's see if we have any charge. But before I do that, you can see just how thin this is. Essentially about half the thickness of the balance of the P series. Full-size SD card slot, 2 Type A ports, a Kensington lock. And then if we go around to the other side of the machine, we've got the power port right there, flanked, well, not flanked, but sitting next to 2 Thunderbolt 4 ports. No charging over Thunderbolt 4 here, so if you're looking for that, that's not part of this generation. HDMI 2.1 out and a headphone microphone combo jack right there. But really just a nice looking lightweight machine that if you need a CPU GPU pairing that is far from being a slouch, this is really probably going to check a lot of boxes for you. Then take into account that you've got this 16 by 10 aspect ratio matte finish display that again is 1600 resolution. So a 2.5K display. Power button doubles as a fingerprint scanner for those of you that are wondering. And this really, I think, checks a lot of boxes for a lot of different users. 1080p IR, Windows Hello compatible camera right there with a privacy switch so that you can easily block the webcam. You can see it's now red. Switch it back, no longer red. And the display is really nice. So this is one of those things where I feel like, the ThinkPad P1 line in general clearly geared towards being really the travel machine of the P series, still giving you the chops to deal with, Revit, AutoCAD, some rendering, photo video editing using that A2000 with its 4 gigs of dedicated VRAM. But of course, it isn't going to hold a candle to what the P15 or P17 with GPUs like the A5000 can handle. Now, you can also configure this, I believe, with up to a 3080. That's, of course, going to be a Max Q variant. So just food for thought. And that's what really makes this line so appealing. The keyboard, pretty much ThinkPad classic. Nice travel on it. I mean, I expect to have a really good experience with this keyboard. And the touchpad also larger than a lot of other models in this business class of mobile workstation. The display, again, 16 by 10 aspect ratio, 1600p, I think is ideal for this sort of work. Now, granted, when it comes to content consumption or watching any video you are editing, you are not going to escape the letterboxing that comes with a 16 by 10 aspect ratio, but I think that is a small price to pay in the scope of the overall performance and productivity compensation, I would call it, that 16 by 10 offers users. So, I mean, a really nice blend for both content consumption as well as productivity. And that's because this IPS panel is, again, high res, seems like it's fairly high brightness as well. So a good balance between both forms, creative and business alike, or being both, which is really the breadth of this machine considering its target audience. Having that Xeon processor, we should see some very good performance. Of course, the A2000, not a heavy hitter, but heavy, I would say, when thrown into a machine like this being so portable. So really giving you something to lean on that, isn't going to give you desktop, but is going to give you hopefully a best-in-class experience on the go. And because you can configure this with even beefier GPUs, even in the 3000 realm, it's really up to what sort of user you are. You can also get an LTE or I believe now 5G radio on this as well. So it's really a matter of how you want to configure it. And that's the beauty of Lenovo with these sort of machines, is that they try to deliver everything that they possibly can. Now, I mean, overall, again, this is all about that portability, and I really like it. I think that if you end up, with a machine that has a 3080, and certainly, I mean, as I mentioned earlier, this has a 60, or rather has 64 gigs of RAM, so I'm expecting some pretty nice headroom with this little machine. I think this is the lightest machine I've seen with that much RAM out of the box. And then, again, thinking about having a higher end GPU, well, one can dream. But even with the A2000, this is going to get a lot of work done if that's what you're after. And anything that's CPU intensive, well, the Xeon processor in here should have that handled quite easily. But a really nice machine. I like the fit and finish. I don't know how you could complain. Build quality seems excellent. Not a fingerprint magnet. Pretty much as soon as I touch this machine, it just disappears. So that's what you want out of something like this. Again, a really nice laptop. Yes, very expensive, but as time passes, I think we're going to see that price drop. And the display looks excellent, which it should at this price point. It should with this feature set. And it should if it's targeting mobile professionals that need a color accurate display, even though I haven't tested the accuracy, as well as something that's going to be better for productivity with that extra height that 16 by 10 affords. Any questions or comments about the ThinkPad P1 Gen 4, please feel free to post them at that like button. And as usual, please feel free to subscribe and please stay safe. Later.